Hey up me duck, it's Links Live's Natters time, where your stories come alive. From the fens to the coast. So grab a cuppa and relax with your go-to podcast for unique Lincolnshire stories.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Links Live's Natters podcast. I'm so excited today about today's guest. He's going to tell us all about the travel industry, how we can book great holidays, how we can book them with him. You know, and I'm sure he's got some real tales to tell us. Today's guest is Andy Eccles. Hello Andy, how are you?
Hi Shelley, I'm good, thanks.
That's brilliant. So tell me, what inspired you to become a travel counsellor? What is a travel counsellor?
Well, a travel counsellor is it's a company that's based in Manchester. They are a global company. So the reason I got involved was long story, but I ultimately I was out with friends and they'd introduced me to travel counsel, and we've been using a travel counsel for several years ourselves. And then because they're a franchise, our friend said to us, I've been looking for a new job. And our friend turned around and went, why don't you become a travel counsellor? And that was on the Saturday night. And by the Monday, I'd spoken to our travel counsellor and said to her name was Jade, and I said, Jade, what do you reckon? Could I become a travel counsellor? And she went, I think you'd be quite good at it, actually. So that was the Monday, I think it was. And then by the Wednesday, we'd arranged for head office. I got in touch with them, and I went and saw them over a week or two. And then, so that's how I started. Yeah,
had you got any experience in it, apart from obviously having nice holidays?
Not really, no, because that is one of the questions they ask because it's a franchise, and they want to check, obviously, that you would fit as a franchisee. And they asked me if I was...
what did they ask you?
Just basically, what sort of experience have you got in travel? And I was like, well, been on holiday, and I was in the Air Force, so I've done a bit of travel.
Well, it's all experience, isn't it?
Exactly, but it's not as straightforward as you think. There's so much... I ended up doing a course with them, a 2-week course, and then because I came in as what they call academy, and this is the way they have levels of if you've got experience, you can go in as a franchisee with experience. But for me, I went in, I was on a course with I think there was 12 of us. I was the only man, but there was 12 of us from all over the country, as far north as Scotland, Glasgow,
wow.
As far south as Devon sort of area, and then all points in between, and so we're still all keep in touch. We all help each other out.
That's amazing. So it's like a peer support group of people that are in your fellow franchisees.
Yeah, there was one of the ladies who had experience. She done cruise and travel from that side of things herself, and it's often a case of getting in touch with her and saying, "Can you help me out with this, that, and the other sort of thing?" So yeah, it's really is. It's a weird one because, I am a small business owner, but because of the community we've got, I can get in touch with another travel counsellor. Like, I still talk to Jade and go, what should I do about this? How can I work that? And she will give me advice.
That's fantastic.
And it's the same with all of them. Everyone, 2,000 travel counsellors throughout the country, I think it is. And basically, everyone helps each other out.
So you get that extra little special touch, don't you?
Absolutely, yeah.
What sets a travel counsellor apart from booking through... Why would we book through you and not go through like an online portal or walk into a travel agent? Sell yourself.
Oh, God. Do you know what? Sell myself is not the thing I often do. I'm not very good at it, believe it or not. Right, so there's elements of a travel agent's shop. They are obviously only open for business at certain times. You can come to me, and I will. What I do is, if you say to me, "I'd like to book a holiday, Andy."
So if I said to you at 12 a.m, then Andy, would you book me a holiday?
Well, my first thing would be, well, can I arrange a time to, just like any business, really? I will arrange a time to call you, which is convenient. So if it was a case of you were maybe been sleeping off nights and you weren't available during the day, then it would be a case, okay, so let's arrange to meet. I might not get round to sorting the holiday out until I actually the next day. But that's basically what I do.
Yeah, because people sort of wake up in the middle of the night, don't they? Or they're up early for the and they have these light bulb moments of like, I want to book a holiday.
Yeah.
Well, I know in our household sometimes it's like sort of like 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. You're on your telephone or you're on the internet. You're like, oh wow, look at that destination. It's brilliant. So you can offer that personal touch in that way we can contact you and go, okay, I want to go to. I'm just thinking of somewhere really different. Like, I don't know, Sri Lanka.
Been there, done that one.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, how do you tailor holidays to meet the specific needs of, like I've just said, I'd like to go to Sri Lanka and say I've never been. I'm worried about, the flight. I'm worrying about extra leg room. I'm worrying about hotels. Is that something you can sort of more personalise?
Absolutely, yeah. It's a case of... It's like, say, that initial conversation that I would have, I'd want to find out those things from you. Now, I have I work to a sheet of, it's basically a 2-sided sheet of A4, and I have lots of questions on there. But some of them are obvious, like the fact of, where do you want to go? What do you want to do when you get there? That type of thing. So I can sort that out. But there are elements, like you said, extra leg room. Now, I'm 5'7", so for me, extra leg room isn't an issue. But when you've got clients that are 6 foot plus, that might be something that if I know them and I can ask them that do you need extra leg room?
Because it's not something sort of like when you walk into traditional travel agents, they actually automatically say, do they? They don't look at the customer and go, actually, I think you're going to need extra leg room.
Yeah.
So you in a very personal way would sort of say, do you think you're going to need extra leg room?
Well, yeah, there's that. But one of the questions I do ask is, which is not something that everyone would think to ask, is, do you have dietary requirements? So, for instance,
Oh, yes, because on the plane, when I've flown out to Mallorca before, they actually put a tannoy out. It's like, sorry, we can't sell peanuts or anything.
Exactly. Yeah.
With anything with even peanuts in the meal, because you forget there's nuts in the meal, isn't there? Mm-hmm. And when you're in close quarters of a flight, and you're only on there, you're only up in the air for hour or something? An hour to Mallorca?
Yeah, I'm just going slightly off, because I had a friend, it was her daughter, who... We were sat in a pub on a Christmas Eve several years ago, but she literally was sat the other side and someone had opened a bag of nuts, and even just the bag of nuts being opened, she could start feeling the effects. So yeah, like you say, imagine being in an aeroplane going on holiday.
I think most people know when they've got allergies and stuff like that to do. Have the good sense, to tell the airline in advance and stuff, and that's where your personal. You can do that for people.
Absolutely, yes. So it is. It's all about just trying to drill down and find out those questions and ask those questions. And then I sit there and scribble. Lots of...
Yeah. Say the inevitable happens and there is an emergency.
Yeah.
What could you do? Say, like, civil war has just broken out in somewhere. I mean, that's an extreme.
Perish the thought, but yes. Yeah, it does happen, doesn't it? That's the thing.
The thing is, it is happening, isn't it? Yeah. If we look at the world in the state it's in today, who'd have thought what happened in
Israel or Ukraine's, those couple of those ones that have happened, yeah. To answer your question, there's with me, you've got the access to the fact of having, you've got me on a phone. It's not a call centre, you get me, so I will know it's you. You've also got access, travel counsellors have a 24-hour duty office, and they're on the ball with a lot of anything going on. Like, I'll get an email about something that doesn't necessarily make the news, So the wildfires in California are a prime example at the minute, because they're very current, aren't they? But as soon as they started, and it was still relatively small, and people must have not really thinking about it, it didn't really make the news, because it was just a small fire, and it'll be
and then all of a sudden, boom!
And then all of a sudden, it's gone boom, and it's made big international news. But I get emails from the duty office saying, we are aware of this going on, whatever it is, civil war, wildfires, earthquakes, tsunamis, all that sort of stuff.
Who'd have thought we'd have been saying that in this day and age,
I know, Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when we were kids, you don't think about it like that. But yeah, that's what
it's just something, you have to think about.
Yes.
this day and age, because we're going on holiday at the end of April, and I've actually bought insurance for the UK.
With me, though, you haven't booked with me. Well, I can't believe it. Right.
I'm so sorry, Andy. We've actually bought insurance for the UK for I've never bought insurance for the UK and stuff like that before, but because the way the weather's been with flooding, snow, you name it, we've had everything, haven't we?
Do you know what? It's a good point, and it's nothing to do with my business. I will say to anyone who's listening, if you're booking your holiday, make sure you've got your insurance in place before you go, because ultimately, if something does happen, then you run the risk of losing everything, because once you're booked, the company can turn around and say, well, you booked with us.
You haven't got your insurance, like the caravan site could be underwater because of where it is. It's so close to the coast and it's in Scotland as well. So, there's all sorts of extreme weather, which leads brilliantly, how do you did mention about the travel people having 24-hour offices. How do you ensure with the way the world is going at the moment that clients' trips are financially secure and stress-free?
Well, the stress-free bit we'll come back to, but the fact that financial security, so all the holidays booked through travel councils are ATOL protected, which means that you are covered for
that's
from an airline.
That's for people that don't know what ATOL is.
ATOL is basically the for protection for the airline. And you are covered for if anything. So if you think about several years ago, Thomas Cook went bust. Lots of people were stuck on holiday because Thomas Cook, the airline, had stopped trading. So because of ATOL, that's where the ATOL protection steps in. And then other airlines are then able to pick up the clients or the customers and bring them back home. And that's partly what ATOL's about. There's a lot more to it, but that's in a nutshell, that's what it comes down to.
So you would sort of say to people strongly, make sure you have insurance and all these things are in place.
Get your own insurance, because while you might get stuck in resort and it's all one good saying ATOL will get you back, but ultimately there's other bits like you're losing out on other stuff. So you might be, and the fact that if something happens to you when you're abroad and you get sick, you might need to get repatriated back to the UK, and insurance will cover you for, for the fact of needing to get back, like a medical flight back. God forbid it should happen, but it could happen.
Because it's so easy for people to go on, I won't mention sites and stuff, to go on some of these cheaper sites and literally go with the cheaper flights and stuff like that. Like younger people just think, I'll just nip out to Ibiza. I don't need this. I don't need that. And then the inevitable happens. They are stuck, aren't they?
Absolutely. Like you say, I always use when I do a little video, I say, we can't name those sites for legal reasons, which is ultimately what it comes down to. But there's that element of you can, dare I say, you get what you pay for. All right, the fact that you can go to some of those cheaper sites, and by all means go and look at the reviews.
We're not saying don't, but we're just saying
if you want to get customer service, come to me. If you want to do it, if you're price led, then go to those sites. But also look at those sites and think about what if. And then look on the reviews. So Trustpilot's a perfect example, all right? Travel Council have got 98% Trustpilot reviews, all right?
Wow.
Some of those other sites aren't so
about.
good. Absolutely, which is where I am incredibly proud to be a TC. Because
you can actually see it in your face, Andy, when you talk about it. You're so passionate about what you believe in and giving the client what they actually want.
Good. Yeah, thank you. It is about that. It's about that. I jokingly say, the fact that travel councils are 98%. I don't want to be the travel counsellor that is the reason, someone comes and goes, well, I didn't think you were very good, and they drop down to 97%, for instance. I'd hate to think that it's my fault for that. So I want to give you the best, and I'm still learning. There's always that element of I'm always learning. But I want to ensure that you have the best time. But I just also wanted to add about the financial protection is the travel councils provides a financial bond for its clients, which means that you as a client are financially protected against supplier failure. So that is another part of the ATOL.
What is supplier failure for people who don't know?
It could be like, I'll go back to COVID. COVID's a really good example. Everyone was going off on holiday, and then all of a sudden the government goes, right, you can't do that. No one's going anywhere. So a lot of the supplier failure in that respect wasn't their fault. And going back, Martin Lewis did the Martin Lewis, the money saving expert guy you see on telly. He did what's the word I'm looking for? A poll of all the different travel companies. Travel councils came out on top, again, because it was very quick with its turnaround for providing the money back to people. So if something like did happen, like a company goes bust, that maybe a supplier we've been using and they've gone bust, then travel councils can ensure that you get your money back a lot quicker than some others.
That's really good. It's that whole personal touch and stuff. Like you say, you could go cheaper, but then you could find yourself completely stuck in a foreign country. Yeah. And if you don't know the language and you don't know the lays of the land or the laws, you are stuck, aren't you?
At the Thrive Tribe, we believe everyone deserves the chance to soar. Whether you're an individual seeking self-improvement or a business aiming for success, we've got you covered. Personalised coaching. Unlock your potential with our expert coaches. One-on-one guidance tailored to your unique goals. Learn flexibly online. Boost your skills from Microsoft Office mastery to work-based expertise. Lifelong learning? We've got the keys. So whether you're an aspiring professional, a business leader, or simply hungry for growth, join the Thrive Tribe today. Visit thethrivetribe.com and let's ignite your journey. Remember, it's not just about surviving, it's about thriving. The Thrive Tribe, where potential meets possibility.
Hey there, Lincolnshire business owners. Struggling to be found online? Still buried on page 3 of Google? Wondering if anyone's even looking? Well, stop stressing and join the Lincolnshire Business Directory. It's completely free to join, and you'll finally start getting noticed. Think of it like shouting from the hilltops, but digitally. Want to really make a splash? For just £99, you can upgrade to a premium listing and get in front of more eyes. You'll be the talk of the town. It's super easy. Pick a plan, create your listing, and boom, you're live. Customers will be finding you faster than you can say SEO. Head to www.lincolnshirebusinessdirectory.co.uk. Don't miss out. Your customers are waiting.
Where are people going? Where are people going this year? What's the latest travel trends?
Sri Lanka's. I saw an
Sri
email.
Lanka?
Sri Lanka's a good one. Sri Lanka's a good one. I personally like the idea. Albania's up and coming.
Albania?
Albania is a good country.
Not somewhere I thought I'd hear that drop into conversation.
And when you think about it, it's not that far to travel. It's like literally next door to Montenegro. Montenegro has been growing in popularity for the last couple of years. And if you think about it, although that area was Yugoslavia once upon a time.
I was going to say it was always known as a really good coastline, wasn't it? Everybody used to go there. Yeah,
so Albania's growing, and the fact that you've got that one, and I do like that if you paint for me to paint the picture for you, if you think about it, if you look at on a map, Albania is west facing, the coastline is west facing. So if you think about standing out on the hotel, veranda, balcony, whatever it is, and the sun's going to be going down, it will go down in the west and it go ultimately most probably clear down. You can see Italy as well, so it's most likely going to go down and you'll get sunset over Italy, and it would be lovely as a resort, as a destination.
I never thought I'd hear. I know countries do recover from wars and things that, but I've never heard sort of Albania is coming back.
Well, I don't know if it's ever. It's let's say it's growing in popularity. But it's
So
it's
that's in terms of like short haul, isn't it? Albania, that sort of coastline and stuff like that. Long haul, somewhere different. You think?
I would say Oman is another one. Yeah, it's again. There's an element of when you look at these countries, some of them stop.
It's on the bandwagon, isn't it?
It's on the peninsula, Saudi Peninsula, and if you look at, you've got Dubai much higher up on the peninsula, and then United Arab Emirates and Qatar, they're all growing. And if you, again, little top tip for you, if you are thinking of going to Dubai for a holiday, then consider going to Qatar instead. Because
is it slightly cheaper?
It is actually. Honestly, this was was a tip we got from Travel Council's head office. They did a quote just to show us from a sales point of view for travel councils. And they said, well, look, if you go to, it was exactly the same sort of, it was a 5-star hotel in Dubai, owned by a particular chain. And they did exactly the same thing with going to Doha, Qatar, in the United Arab Emirates. And it was £1,500 cheaper. 5-star resort, owned by the same chain of hotels.
Same country area.
Same area. So you're still getting, the heat in the desert and all that sort of stuff.
So you can still visit Dubai for the day.
You could do, yeah. In theory, you could do. It might be an extra flight, but that again is something that I can sort out for. If you said I want to go to Dubai and do like early flight into Dubai and then maybe fly, I am sort of picking it, but it would be a case.
It's like a pick and mix holiday, isn't it? You can add things and stuff.
You can be tied to the airline flight times and things like that, but ultimately there are bits where you can actually sort it out. So I could tailor that for you.
Yeah. Do you think since the pandemic, people's choices have changed where they go? They're getting more adventurous, or they're still liking the good old favourites?
I think the good old favourites never go away. The fact that people still want to go to Spain and those areas because it's short haul, like you say. It's easy to get to.
I mean, what is the situation with Spain at the moment? Are people still booking their holidays?
I've not heard anything different. I've got to admit, because there was a whole thing, wasn't it, last summer where they were saying about tourists and that. I'll be interested to know what does happen this coming summer with Britain and tourism. Will they still choose to go somewhere where they're not particularly welcome? Who knows? It'll be interesting. I'll be interested to see how it goes.
Yeah,
I've not heard any facts and figures on that.
I don't think the media are helping, are they?
No.
In that terms,
No.
It's sort of like, because I know, like the Spanish people and stuff I know, they'd still love to have us. They still want us and stuff like that. Because I think it will die. If we're not there.
Well, that's just it. Yeah, there's all sorts of bits and pieces that now whether it's political rather than tourist, I don't know. But there is elements of. It would be nice to think that it is still a popular destination. Hopefully it's a small minority of Spain that is making it unpopular.
I mean, I have this dire urge, and I know Andy's going to laugh. I'd love to still go out to Benidorm. I'll admit this on the podcast. I did like the TV programme Benidorm. I thought it was hilarious, the way...
But you don't need a mobility scooter.
Yeah, we don't need a mobility scooter. You can get one of those in Skegness. Did I say that? But places like Benidorm, they sort of like have characters and characters. So somewhere like that, it's still on my wish list to go.
Well, Benidorm, dare I say, it is Skegness with sunshine, isn't it?
It really is.
It's a beachside holiday, and let's face it, it's different strokes for different folks. We all like to do that. Do different things.
Yeah, because you can still get all your English breakfasts out there.
Exactly.
You see all the signs on there going, yes, you can have a big breakfast for like £7 or something. And you're thinking, well, I could have got that down the road in thingy. But it is like you say, it's Skegness with the sunshine and stuff like that. For somebody who's never booked a holiday, they want to go on their first ever holiday. Mm-hmm. Talk them through what you'd actually do again.
Right, so if someone came to me and says, I've never been abroad.
I've never flown, I've never been on a ferry, I haven't got my passport, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing at passport control.
That would be the first thing. Let's get you sorted out, get your passport sorted out. Then it would be a case of you need to think about, I've got a quote at the minute I'm looking at, and one of the things was when they were talking, it's a family of 6, mum, dad, with their 2 sons, I think it is, and the girlfriends. And they were talking about wanting to go somewhere, they wanted this, that and the other. And I went, cruise. What about, because I thought a cruise would suit perfectly. And he went, no, not a chance. My wife gets seasick just standing in the waves. So that was straight off. Not an option. So that it wouldn't be possible for them to do a cruise. And that's the thing. That's why drilling down and finding out. So it's someone comes and says, I want a holiday. Well, okay. What you want, where do you want to go? Because again, they might turn around and say, I want to go to Benidorm. And we're taking the mick, aren't we? But ultimately, there's an element of, it's not for me to judge. If that's where they want to go and that's what they want to do, hey, fine, I'm more than happy to help them with that.
Oh, that's absolutely brilliant. If I'm going to ask you personally, if you had all the money in the world, where would you go and what would you do that's different?
I don't know about big difference, but the one it's part of the training that I've done. Antarctica's got to be one of the ones. Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. For those that are listening, Shelley's sitting there going, "Yeah, I want to go as well." So yeah, it is that. There's an element of that. Really, it's almost like the if you think about if we've conquered Antarctica, and I dread it in some ways because the green elements of it. A lot of the companies that are going there are really putting themselves under. They're trying to stay within those green initiatives and keeping everything safe and keeping everything as untouched as they possibly can. There's one of the cruise lines, I can't remember the name of it. But
there is a big one that's advertising on the telly at the moment. And I keep saying, I'm going to go. When I've got loads of money, I'm going.
Exactly. Some of them will do like a cruise where you can go in on the boat and you can go, look, there's a snow and ice, there's a penguin, there's a whale, we're turning around and going back, you don't get off the ship. That is obviously not as expensive as the ones that go, right, we're going to park up right on the ice cap, you're going to be able to get off and go walk and watch the penguins and then, do all that sort of stuff. And you go and do your deep dive into the water to do your freezing cold bit. Yeah, I know I don't fancy it either. But the fact of that's the sort of thing you can do that. And if you see Susan Calman on there, am I allowed to mention the channel that she's on?
Channel 4.
Was it 4? I thought it was 5. I think it's 5.
In her little camper van that's named after a very...
No, not that one. She's doing one at the minute for cruise lines, and she's done the previous one where she did the Antarctica, and that was the one. The boats. They're not called boats. They're called ships. Anyone tells you it's a boat, you get crucified by the cruise industry. Trust me, I know. So you go on the ship, and it is like a Bond villain ship. This thing had its own submarine. It had its own helicopter. They would take the helicopter up and fly it around to check if they could see any wildlife, so that it would then tell the ship where to go and things like that. So that is ultra luxury, and that is top dollar. But for the experience and answering your question, that would be one of them. And then the flip side, to get a bit more sun and heat, I'd want to do Galapagos.
Yes, because all the wildlife on there, the animals and everything, it's not sort of somewhere you say, I'm going to Galapagos for a holiday, because a lot of people think of it of like scientists all being on the island studying all the animals.
A lot of these cruise companies do have scientists on board. They have marine biologists and all that. So
is that an up-and-coming trend, or has it always been there?
Do you know what? I'm not sure, because I think it's been around for a while, but the fact of... I think it's becoming more popular and more known, like you say, because Susan Calman and other, like, what's the singer's name? I've forgotten, the Yorkshire lass. I can't remember her name. But there's a singer, some of your listeners will know what I mean. That's the one. Yeah, Jane McDonald. She's on. Thank you for your technician for pointing that one out. But yeah, it's Jane McDonald. She's done lots of those sorts of things as well, I think. So the fact of wanting to go there it would be ideal. But the fact that, like I say, the cruise line have these marine biologists, and they're there to help, not just to do studies and science, but they're also there to help you as a client or a customer on the ship. They are there, and they will help you with if you've got any questions.
It's sort of almost like something. It's like a dream thing, unless you've got the money.
Yeah,
you didn't even think about it. I mean, I can dream. Like I say, I see the adverts on the telly for this cruise line I can't even pronounce, and it sounds like something in the middle of, I don't know, some foreign country that you can't even pronounce. Mm-hmm. And you think, one day, but it's so different, isn't it? These things, because I actually had a friend who was based in Alaska. She actually and I know she'll be listening, she actually married an American serviceman, and as soon as she married him, they were finding out they were being shipped out to Fairbanks, just near Alaska and stuff like and so she was based out there and stuff, and she would be posting pictures of, there's a moose in my back garden, or there's a bear at the back garden, you know, or she'd be posting pictures of the Northern Lights.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, and then when she's been on the ships round that area of the coastlines, wow, that's amazing. So for me, Alaska, sort of Antarctica, that sort of area, you know, that would be my dream place and stuff. And I can't remember what you said for heat and stuff like that.
Galapagos,
Galapagos and stuff with all the scientists and stuff like that. Saying that, what's the most unusual request you've received from a client? Because obviously you work with brides as well, don't you? You know.
Yeah, I can do honeymoons as well. Yeah, but I think the one that I remember, the one that sticks out, is a friend, and I will let him know I'm on here so he'll know that he's listening. But he asked for it couldn't be a square pool. It was like really, it was a bit of a strange one. It was like, so then while I was going, because it was quite a straightforward holiday he wanted to go to, where was it? Morocco. He wanted to go to Morocco, I think it was. And it was like, but I had to go then looking at all the hotels, and it was like trying to make sure that the pool fit the criteria for what he actually wanted. I think it was, he didn't want a square one, or did he want a square one? I can't remember which way around it was. But basically, it was that thing of having to then look and go looking at the hotel, and not just going, oh, okay, well, yes, it's a 5-star hotel or 4-star, whatever, and it was half board, it was full board, whatever, all that sorts of stuff that you go into. But then being able to go, but it's got to have the right shape pool. So
wow, that was quite a challenge then, you know, having to do it. But I presumed it was, wow, yes, I can do this. This is a challenge.
I've just remembered another one, actually. Sorry.
No, it's fine.
the first one was actually my first booking that I got as a TC was again from a former boss, and I think he was just because he knew I'd just started up, and I think he was giving me a chance, which was really nice of him. But the fact that he was going to celebrate. They were going away. They were going to celebrate for it was his son's 16th. Middle of 2024, and they were finishing GCSEs, and he wanted to go and celebrate for that. And it was like, it sounds like it was straightforward. I thought, great, yeah, okay, that's not going to be a problem. You know, family of 4, going away, get a bit of sun. Won't be a problem for me to sort that out for you. And then he went, but we want to take 2 surfboards. And one of them was particularly big. It was like over 2 meters, I think. And so it was a case of then, you know, where you suddenly, like say, first booking and travel was not as straightforward as I first thought naively. There was realising I was then having to go through all these travel airlines and things like that, trying to find the right airline.
Did they give you sort of an idea of destination?
Yeah. They said that initially they'd want to go to Morocco, and then halfway through that, as I was going looking, they then went, but we don't want to go to Morocco because the surf's not good enough. So they ended up going to Portugal. But I was still trying to find the airline that would take these 2 surfboards. And it ended up being a budget carrier. I was expecting it to be like a scheduled airline. It ended up being a budget carrier.
Really?
I'm not going to say which one.
No, we won't say which one.
Which one. All right. But it was, yeah.
Because everybody's equal. Everybody's equal.
But it was the fact of being able to just finding the airline that
Did that
would take
surprise you?
It did a bit, yeah, because I thought it
would be a Premier class.
Yeah, and I thought it would be the other way round. I thought it would be more that, not so much the Premier, but the scheduled airline, you know, because ultimately airlines are just like buses. They could go to certain places, same time every day sort of thing. And so that's ultimately what it was. I thought it would be that. And then it turned out it was a budget airline who just fortunately ended up going to Portugal for their destination.
So you might have saved them some money.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
But it's not all about the money, you know. Can you share a travel tip or a hack that most people might not know about? You know, it's sort of like something you're going on your holiday. It can be anything from packing your suitcases or, you know, sort of like restaurants and stuff or anything like that.
I think a lot of them now are, you can see them online. You can go on TikTok or Instagram and go and
or
find
if you
them.
like me, Andy, I actually get the maps up and I'm on the street as well and stuff. Because obviously I've got additional disabilities and stuff, and I have to look at how a terrain is, how many steps there is into things like that. And I'll be on Google Maps, Andy, looking at the street.
Well, funnily enough, I've just done that. I've got a client who's wanting her husband's poorly for that reason, and he can't handle. They want to look at Madeira, And Madeira, being an island in the Atlantic, is very steep and very hilly, and it wouldn't suit him at all. So we discounted that quite quickly. But top tip, I don't like to say you can go and look on TikTok and all that, and I would also say,
but as long as you come back to Andy and you book it with him,
back to me, yeah, absolutely, yes. But it's the case of don't always believe everything about them. But the one I do think is roll your clothes. So if there's
yes, I've seen that. My mum was forever saying that to me, and I know somebody sitting not too far away from me and stuff as well does that. You know, he rolls his clothes in a suitcase and stuff like that. And
when you get there, hang them up. Put especially because you're not paying for the water, so get a nice hot bath going and hang all your clothes in the bathroom, and the steam will help drop the creases out.
Wow, I've never thought about doing that, you know, because obviously when you get to your resort, all you want to do is get out, isn't it? You know, suitcases on the bed, I'm out, you know, and you start with the local vino and things. And, well, I don't know if that's what everybody does, you know, but you just want to get out, don't you? You've spent, anything between 2 hours to 12 hours on a flight, and you just want to get out. You
want to get out and enjoy yourself, don't you? But I think if you take that sort of, 5-10 minutes or whatever, get your clothes out, get them hung on the hangers, and then get them over a steam bath. Really get the steam going in the bathroom, and then just leave them hanging. The steam helps. It's just like, it saves you having to iron them and all that, and it will help drop the creases out.
That's absolutely fantastic, you know, because you don't think about that, like you say, do you? You know, and then you're thinking, where's the iron? Yeah. And you're searching around your hotel room, and it's like, have I got an iron in here and stuff like that?
You're on holiday, you don't need to be ironing.
But people do.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly.
I'm female, Andy. It's one of these things, you know, it's sort of like, is there an iron in the room and stuff like this, even though there's a massive jacuzzi in the room and stuff like that, and you think it takes up half the hotel room. It's like, where's the iron? You know, where is the iron in this room and stuff like that? And it's sort of like anything like that. You know, anyway, how can listeners get in touch with you if they want to start planning their next adventures?
Okay, it's email is andy.eccles@travelcounsellors.com, or you can get me on my webpage, which is travelcounsellors.co.uk/Andy.Eccles.
Brilliant. Any final thoughts or tips for listeners dreaming of the next getaway?
I would say think about doing this sooner rather than later, all right? Because ultimately, whether you come to me and book or you don't, you're better getting them now. There's not like the discounts are around now in January, so you're better getting them done now. But if you leave it till the last minute... If
you want something specific, get it done now.
Yeah, absolutely, because some of the ones that... If you leave it till the last minute thinking, I'll get it now, you'll find most of those best places are being already booked up, so you can't actually get the one that you want because it's been booked. So you might get a holiday, but you might not necessarily get the holiday that you want.
Final question from me that I forgot to ask.
Go on.
How do you deal with brides?
Just the same as any other customer. You know, I haven't met a bridezilla yet, so we'll see how it goes. But basically, just like any other customer.
Do they know what they want? They sort of bang, I want to go here, here, or do you try and suggest sort of something sort of quite different? I
think that if it's a first-time bride, I think they've been thinking about it, and I had my stepdaughter tell me this. She'd been thinking about getting married since she was a little girl. So I think most young women know what they want for the wedding. So, I think they have an idea, and I'm just there to help them with it.
Andy Eccles, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today. Thank you so much. It's been great fun.
Thanks, Shelley. Cheers.
Well, that's it for today's episode of the Links Lives Matters podcast. A big thank you to Andy Eccles, our brilliant travel counsellor, for nattering with us and sharing his expert tips on planning those perfect getaways. It's a big thank you to my technical team, as always, because I wouldn't be able to do this without them. And as always, thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our next episode. And if you enjoyed today's natter, we'd love it if you left us a review or shared it even with a friend. Until next time, take care, and we'll see you again for more Links Lives Natters.